What is in your blood matters, but not as much as what is in your heart. Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn about monohybrid cross of Gregor John Mendel. That is also the first law of inheritance. So let's begin. Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to learn the first experiment of Mendel. As we have discussed in previous video, he did two experiments which are considered for genetics. They are actually the basics of genetics, and that is why he was entitled with a name of father of genetics, right? So the first experiment which he did was monohybrid cross. Mono, as we all are familiar with this term, that is one. Monohybrid, here he has taken one particular character and he has selected the contrasting characters in the one trait only. Say for example, if we talk about height of the plant, then there were two contrasting characters in that, tall and dwarf. Same way for shape of the seed, there were two, round and wrinkled. Color of the seed, there were two, yellow and green, and likewise. So only one particular character he has selected, and he wanted to see how exactly that character is transferred from parents to the progeny, right? As we have discussed in the previous video, there were mainly three steps of his experiment. So his experimental approach we are very well aware of. The first step was selection of the pure parent. Pure parent means what? Here pure denotes that both the alleles or both the factors that denote to the same character must be identical. It means here you see both of them are alike or both of them are similar, both of them are denoting to the same feature, that is tallness, right? So when homozygous condition is there for any particular trait or factor, then it is said as pure. So he has selected pure tall as well as pure dwarf plant, and then he did a cross amongst them. We are knowing how exactly he did the cross, right? Flowers were bisexual. So first the emasculation was done, stamen was removed before they get mature, then the flowers were covered with the bags, then from another plant he has taken the stamen and dusted the pollen grain over that flower, and again he has covered the bag, right? So the same thing he did for this experiment also. He has removed stamen from one flower and then he has covered the flower. He waited till the stigma get mature. Then from another flower, he dusted the pollen grain over that flower, and then after he has noted the results, right? Now we are knowing how exactly it was done, but at that time he was not pretty much aware of all these things. So for him, it was experiments only. He was not knowing how exactly the gametes are formed or what will happen during the gamete formation process. He was completely unaware of all those things. So with the help of this flowchart, we will try to understand the first step. What did he do? He has taken tall and dwarf plants and crossed them. When the tall plants are producing their gametes, only one out of two factors will go in that gamete. We are knowing that at the time of gamete formation, meiosis process is taking place, and during meiosis, the number of chromosomes are reduced to half, right? That we are very well aware of. So the same thing will have happened here. This is diploid condition. The diploid cell will get converted into haploid cells, as gametes are haploids. Clear? So at the time of gamete formation, both of these traits will get separate. Same thing will take place here in the dwarf plant. When the gametes of the dwarf plants are produced, both the factors will get separated. Now, here we have taken possibilities. As you are learning in maths, probability, right? So here also probability will be there that this gamete is there. So it can fuse with any of this gamete. Likewise, this gamete get fused with any of this gamete. So all those possibilities we have taken over here, and we got 100% tall plants in first filial generation. Why 100% tall? That also we are knowing. Capital T, it denotes to the tallness, and it is a dominating character. So it will suppress the expression of recessive trait, and thus the gene or the allele of dwarfness, though it is present in the cell, it will not get expressed in that generation. So it doesn't mean that it got vanished from there. It is still present, but because of dominating gene, it will not get chance to express itself. Here we have noted down the phenotype of F1 generation. Phenotype. This terminology is new for us. Phenotype means visible characters. See, height of the plant we can notice with our naked eyes, right? There is no need of any apparatus or laboratory equipments that can be visible. So, the visible characters are termed as phenotypes. And all 100% progeny of F1 generation was tall. Genotype. Genotype denotes the traits which are present in that particular organism. So here the genotype is hybrid. See, this is heterozygous condition. Hetero means what? One trait is of dominating character, the other trait is of recessive character. So here the hybrid or heterozygous genotype we have received in 100% progeny of F1 generation. So when we take the ratio, phenotypic ratio is also 100% tall and genotypic ratio is also 100% hybrid, or we can say 4:0. Here 4 denotes the tall plants and 0 denotes dwarf plants. Same way here also in genotypic ratio, 4 denotes tall plants, 0 denotes dwarf plants. Clear? So let's revise once again. In monohybrid cross, only one character is to be taken. So he has selected height of the plant. Then he has selected the pure parents. Pure means those who are homozygous for that particular character. So tall plants were homozygous tall and dwarf plants were homozygous dwarf. When the gametes are formed, these both traits will get separate from one another because of the meiosis process, and then after we have taken the probability of fusion of gametes with each other, and in F1 generation he has noted that all 100% progeny was tall. That is phenotype. Phenotype means visible character that we can see with our naked eye, and genotype means the traits or the factors which are present in the cell that determines that particular character. So here genotype was hybrid, or we can say it was heterozygous. When we take the phenotypic ratio of tall versus dwarf plant, so it was 100% tall, means 4 is to 0. And genotypic ratio also of tall versus dwarf plants were 100% hybrid, that is also 4 is to 0. Clear? Now the next step, F1 generation is produced, but in the next step what he did self-crossing of the F1 generation. He allowed self-crossing of F1 generation with one another and he obtained the next generation. Let's see how. So, when he did cross between tall plants of F1 generation, what was the result? He allowed selfing. Selfing means what? Both the parents are of same type and he allowed breeding between both of those parents. So that is termed as selfing, and selfing is denotes by cross surrounded by a circle. This is the symbol of selfing. So here both the parents were heterozygous tall. When the gametes are formed, at that time both the traits will get separate. As we have studied in first parental generation also, there was also same. Here also the same thing will take place. This dominating and recessive genes will go separately in different gametes. And then after, when the gametes are fused, at that time we will get the perfect results or F2 generation. So let's see how exactly it will take place. See, we are taking this first gamete, right? If this gamete will fuse with this gamete, then both capital T will be together. Capital T, as we all are knowing, it is dominating character, so the plant will become tall. And it is just similar to that of the parental character. One of the parent was homozygous tall, and the same character we are getting here. So this one we will term as homozygous tall. Clear? Next, this gamete can fuse with this gamete also. So when both of these gametes are fused with each other, we will again get hybrid as we got here in the F1 generation, right? So in that hybrid condition also only the dominating trait will get expressed, plant will be tall, but such plants are called as hybrid tall. Why hybrid? Because it contains one trait or one gene that denotes dominating character or tallness, and the other gene denotes recessive character or dwarfness. Next, this gamete and this gamete can get fused with each other. They will also form a hybrid tall. And the last possibility is fusion of these two gametes. So when both of these gametes are fused with each other, we will get dwarf. And as we all are knowing that the genes or the traits which denote the dwarfness are recessive. So recessive genes can only get expressed when they are in homozygous condition. So we got two characters which were present in the parental generation and two characters which were present in the F1 generation. Clear? See, in F1 generation we have not received this particular character. No plant was dwarf at all. Clear? But still we have received dwarf plant in F2 generation. That we have to keep in mind when we will learn about the conclusions. At that time it will help us. So let's see what will be the genotypic and phenotypic ratio. See, genotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. Here it is for pure tall plants, it is for hybrid tall plants, and this one is for pure dwarf plant. So when we take the ratio of pure tall, hybrid tall and pure dwarf plant, we get the ratio 1:2:1. Understood? Next is phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic means what? Visible character. Now it will change from genotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio is determined by the traits which are present, and phenotypic will be determined by the characters which are visible. So look at here. All these three are tall and only one is dwarf. So we got the ratio of tall versus dwarf plants in the ratio of 3:1. That is, we can say that 75% plants were tall and 25% plants were dwarf, or 3/4 plants were tall and 1/4 plants were dwarf. Clear? Now let's see what did he conclude after receiving this particular result. Let's discuss the conclusion that was made by Mendel. What did he say? That the trait which was not found in F1 generation was not lost, but was suppressed and it reappeared in F2 generation. He was correct only, right? We have already seen when pure tall and pure dwarf are crossed with each other. So at that time 100% progeny of F1 generation was tall. There was no dwarf plant formed in first generation. So it doesn't mean that the trait or the gene that was denoting to the dwarfness was lost, but it was suppressed. Suppressed by whom? Was suppressed by the dominating trait, as the trait which denotes the tallness was dominating, so it does not allow the dwarfness gene or dwarfness trait to get expressed in the first generation. Clear? So two types of the traits are there. Suppressed trait, he has termed this suppressed trait as recessive one, that was denoting to the dwarfness, and expressed trait, that expressed trait was of tallness and he denotes it as dominating trait. Based on these results, he has given principle or phenomenon of dominance. What was that? The trait which express itself in hybrid is called dominant trait. Hybrid condition we all are knowing. Hybrid means what? That heterozygous condition. One is of tallness, other one is of dwarfness. Though only the tallness was expressed and dwarfness was suppressed. So the one which was expressed, that is dominating, while the other one which was unable to express was recessive. Clear? Then the characters are represented by discrete units of factors. These discrete units which are representing the character are called as factor or genes. So here those discrete units will be this capital T and small t. So they are termed as factors. Now we are calling them as genes. When he has given his principles or conclusions, at that time the term gene was not coined and nobody was aware of that thing also. So he has termed it as factor. But now we are knowing that they were genes, and these genes are represented by discrete units. Different units we are using over here to represent both of them. In previous video we have learned how to represent the dominating trait. So to represent the dominating trait we were using capital letter, and to represent the recessive one we were using lower cases or small letters. So what was the law of inheritance that he has proposed. That law is also known as law of segregation or law of purity of gametes. He told that an organism's characteristics are determined by internal factors. What are these internal factors? Genes, of course, right? So, our characteristics are determined by the genes that we possess, which occur in pair. These genes are present in pair. Now we are knowing that one gene for the same character we are receiving from our mother's side, other gene for the same character we will receive from the father's side, right? So we are having two genes which will determine the same character, and both are inherent from different parents. And only one of these factors can be present in single gamete. At the time of gamete formation, both of these genes which are present in the pair will get separate. Again you remind in F1 generation, one was capital T and other one was small t. Capital T denotes to the tallness, small t denotes to the dwarfness. So two genes are present. Now when the gamete was formed, both of them got segregated, right? Gamete was only having tallness gene or dwarfness gene. Both were not present in gamete together. Clear? Excuse me. So the same thing was told by him, that one of these factors can be present in single gamete. In one gamete only one factor will be there, and that will be always pure. Clear? That is why it is also called as law of purity of gametes. So what we have learned in this particular cross, that for any of the characteristics there will be two genes which are determining that particular character. The gene which will get expressed must be dominating and the other one will be recessive. Dominating will suppress the expression of the recessive, and recessive will get expressed only when it is in homozygous condition. Clear? So it is law of segregation, law of purity of gamete, first law of inheritance or law of dominance. Different names are there, but the same law is represented by this way. Here in examination what you can be asked is, you will be given one particular character. Say for example they will ask you that what will be the results of phenotypic and genotypic ratio if Mendel will breed homozygous round seeds with homozygous wrinkled seeds. So you have to do that cross and you have to make the conclusions out of it. The ratio is going to remain same. Dominating will be in majority in F1 generation, right? So all 100% will be denoting by dominating character, that means round, and in F2 generation they will be in the ratio of 75% to 25%. 75% will be dominating, 25 will be recessive. Clear? So this thing you need to learn properly. So here I am giving you the homework. Here I am giving you pure parent generation, right? 6 different possibilities are there with the characters which we have not discussed. So all these crosses you have to do on your own. You need to derive the conclusion of phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio in both F1 generation as well as F2 generation. It is going to remain same. In all F1 generation you are going to get 100% dominating character, and in all F2 generation you are going to get 75% dominating character, 25% recessive character phenotypically, and genotypically you will get in the ratio of 1:2:1. But if you will practice, then only you are going to get master on this. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you, because it can be asked, right? Any of the feature they can give you. So you should be aware of how exactly to cross, what will be the result or conclusion drawn out of that experiment, and then we have to write the simple law of inheritance. The first law of inheritance we have to write. Clear? Read the chapter thoroughly and take care of your health.